Happy Monday. I am getting kind of a late start here. It is noon. I just got out of the shower. I didn't really end my weekend vlog yesterday. The house is a trash disaster because we went from birthday party to getting everything ready for Nate. Nate did okay. He had a rough time last night. I knew he would. He called probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. And then last time we talked to him, it was like, what time? I don't even know. I'm so, like, I'm dealing with this hard, too. He must have called last around, like, 10:45 or so. I know it was late. And he didn't, like, insist to come home. He just said, he goes, I want to come home. And we just told him, you know, you've got this. I'm proud of you, all that stuff. You know, all the stuff you say. I didn't cry in front of him. I cried every time after he called. I cried on the way home last night. It's hard. I mean, it's not that I've never been away from Nate because I used to travel for work a little bit. For, you know, I don't know, 3 or 4 days sometimes. But, it's just hard. It's hard and trusting. And at those times, Nate was with Paul. So this is us leaving him somewhere that, you know, we're entrusting people we really don't know with our child. It's just tough. It's one of those parenting things you have to get. I was thinking yesterday, there's a song on the radio about getting married, and you don't think this, like, you want kids, and you just don't realize that sometimes it's going to absolutely rip your heart out for what's best for them. This is good for Nate, though, because I think that we parent based upon our own experiences. I never went to summer camp. I had asthma, as I still do, have asthma. And when I was like Nate's age, I had very bad asthma. I couldn't go to anybody's house that had animals because it bothered me. Sometimes, depending on probably their housekeeping skills as well as how many animals they had and what type, it was right up through high school. I remember, Kig, I'm going to beat your butt. You have to stop eating lollipops. Okay. This is what you want to watch? Yeah. Okay, hold on. I'll be right out. Like in high school, I remember having a school project with one of the girls, and she had like a big dog, and I could not breathe in her house. It sent me immediately into asthma attack. So, because of that, I never really went away from home a lot. And college was the first time that I went where I was away from home for an extended period of time. And I just, I want Nate, because it limits you sometimes when you don't want to be away from home. Limits you to where you'll go or whatever. And, I mean, I have no regrets in my life. I mean, I loved being close to my mom. I mean, that's part of it, is my mom and I were very close. But I just want Nate to be able to do these things and have these experiences. Because Nate, another thing is, I don't know how everybody else is, but, when I was a kid, I knew, I mean, I already had, a career path. I wanted to be a teacher, obviously. That didn't pan out. But Nate, when we ask him what he wants to be, he really doesn't have a clear answer. And not that he should at this point, but I just want him to experience as many things as possible, because I feel like, especially with Scouts and the Nova thing, I feel like he's going to tap into something he wouldn't normally have done just in his everyday whatever. The heck is going on with my computer? So I feel like that's important to just introduce him to all these different things. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's going to like the I hate nature. I hate outside. It's not my favorite thing. So, because I hate the bugs and my allergies, and I think that's why, but, so we don't camp as a family or anything like that. We are ironically going camping the weekend he comes back because friends of ours asked if we wanted to do it, and Paul said yes and included me in that somehow. But I just think it's good for him to experience things. Our whole family, and Keegan more so probably than Nate, because Nate's a little bit more apprehensive, and maybe Keegan will be at some point. Right now he's not. But I'm very much a try it once and see type person, because I just feel like there's so many things you don't know what they're going to be like until you try it. So I'm very much the kind of person that wants to say, I did that, I tried that, it was awesome. That's a large reason why we travel. And we go to different places all the time. I mean, even like on our day trips and stuff, we want to experience things. So, all this rambling is to say Nate's doing good. He called me this morning. And he called me at like 5:30 or so. Hang on. Sorry, phone call from Paul. I don't remember what I said, but he did well. He called me at 5:30. He was a little cold. See, I was worried about him being hot, but it's been getting down. Honestly, this week's supposed to be cooler than it was at day camp. Day camp was ridiculously hot. Like, it was hot. But this week, the high is like 83 or something. And the nights are getting down. Like, last night got down to like 57 or something. So he's got his, see, we didn't know what to expect, and that's part of my irritation. Now that I know what to expect, I'd have gone differently with stuff. And what I mean by that is, they sleep on, because he took up the cot that we bought, but they already had things up there, like metal bed frames with like old mattresses. Not like, they're like plasticky mattresses, I don't know, they're just nasty. They're dirty, and I mean, I guess that's camping. I don't know. But anyhow, I'm gonna take. I think he'll be okay with like the sleeping bag, and then I'm gonna take up his wool blanket that I made for him that I sewed all the patches on. It was in the truck last night, and Paul asked me. He said, "Do you think we should give it to him?" And I said, "I think he's gonna be hot." I was thinking, but I don't know. I didn't look at the weather. It was such a emotional time. So, yeah. But he's doing okay. He called me at 5:30. He's a little cold. I told him to put some pants on because I think he probably just had like shorts and a t-shirt on. I told him to put a sweatshirt on. I told him, so I'll bring up that because I looked and it's going to be down like 50, high 50s and things like that. Let's see what else. Then he called me back after, I think it would have been after breakfast, maybe. Oh, that's the other thing he told me last night is that the food, he goes, we had some kind of meat. It was so good. I want some. Okay, let's not touch the DVD. He said, I said, well, what kind of meat was it? He goes, I don't remember. Okay, hold on. You got it all dirty. It won't play. You can't touch the underneath of the disc. No, you can't. You can put it in yourself, but you can't touch the underneath of the disc. You have to put your finger through the hole and hold it that way. Now carry it out and I'll help you. I'll be right back. So, he had said dinner last night was great, and it was just, it's funny because Nate and Paul are all about food, and that's always what they comment on. So in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have agreed to work this today, but I did. I was supposed to work at 9 this morning, and I emailed them, and I said, it is not going to happen today until noon. I just have to approve my sign-in. Okay, so, but he called, I'm losing track of my mind because Keegan keeps asking me to do stuff. He called after breakfast, and he's like, we're going on a hike. He seemed really excited, and I know it's going to get easier for him at night. It is just a matter of getting him through. So that's what we're doing. We are going to be, I'm going to run up tonight, and we're going to give him some stuff. I know you have to wait for it to come on. Remember, it's commercials. And at some point, I have to clean this house. The house is a disaster. The tables and everything are still back from Keegan's party. Yeah. Whatevs. So, it's Monday, y'all. It is Monday. We have until Friday before we see Nady. We go there Friday night and we eat dinner and we, do the campfire thing with him or whatever. He had s'mores last night. It'll be good. It'll all be good. We'll get through it. We'll get through it, and I'll bring you guys along so you can see our journey. Here we go. Hey guys, it is Monday night. It has been quite the day. So, Nate called me this morning. I think I said that. Things were going really well. And, he called me in the afternoon and he said that they, were wanting, or that they were going to go swimming soon. He didn't want to go swimming. And I told him, Nate has you guys saw him in Florida. I think I got a lot of video that he loves the water. He had so much fun in the water, but he has to figuratively and literally get his toes wet first and just get in when he's ready. So he called me and said that he didn't want to go swimming, and I told him, I said, you know, because when we got there yesterday, they did this swim test. He had to put his face in the water. He was categorized as a non-swimmer, which was the lowest that you can be. And I told him, I said, you know, that's where you're categorized. They're not going to make you go in anywhere deep or anything like that. He goes, well, it's not buoyed off like it was at day camp. I said, yeah, it was. There were different spaces for where you could go. I'm so irate. So, you know, I kind of talked him into going. And so he called me back one other time and he said they hadn't gone yet. They were doing arts and crafts first. And then I got a phone call at I think it was 4 o'clock, that they made him jump in water over his head. He had a life jacket on, but he was frantic and panicked, and they had to pull him out of the water. I swear to God, if my mother was alive, she's probably rolling in her grave right now. So he was terribly upset and wanted to come home. I was talking to him for a good chunk of time. They had moved him onto the boat, into the boathouse. And I was talking to him for a good chunk of time. And then I said, and as the more I talked to him, the more pissed off I got as he described to me what happened. They really coaxed him and he clearly did not want to go in, and they had him do it anyway. So I said, you need to go get an adult. Keeg, why are you down here? Oh, okay, come here.
Are you on video or talking?
I'm on video.
Come on.
Come here.
Keegan, we're going upstairs, so you have 5 seconds to come on, or I'm going to take you back upstairs without seeing Mommy. Where are you?
Right here. I'm in my office.
No, that's dirty.
Okay. So I told him, after hearing him describe what had happened, I said, you need to go get an adult and you need to have them talk to me right now. He said, well, I'm with an adult. And so this girl got on the phone, and I didn't get her name, but she said she doesn't know why things happened as they were, whether it was requirement or whatever. And I said, you know, he took the swim test. He was labeled as a non-swimmer. And just so you guys know, there's different sections there. The non-swimming section is a section that he could touch the ground. They had him in the swimming section for people that can swim. So I told him, I said, it's kind of pointless to do a swimming test and then not allow the kid to go where they're supposed to be and make them do this. And it was just whatever. So we took Keegan up to my sister's. Her husband met us, and we went up to camp. And this is a huge place, and as we're walking up there, I see, because on the way up there, I'd called the camping director and saying I wanted to know where my son was. I was coming up to see him. He goes, well, everything's fine now. You don't have to come up. I said, no, we're on our way. And we got there, and they met us, this is like a camp, it's whatever. they met us in the road. It was the camping director. It was the camping director, his den leader, and some other guy that was 100 years old and had been there for forever, whatever. So she goes, Nate's fine. He's fine now. She goes, even he was, playing or talking with the other boy that was here last year, and he's fine. He's excited because I said he's never going to go back in the water after this. She goes, no, he's fine. He's excited to do whatever. I said, okay, I'd like to talk with Nate because I know my kid and I know that that's not Nate, not even a little tiny bit. They could offer him $1 million. That kid is not getting back in the water up there. I just know him. I know how he is. And so, so we waited. They were down on the field parade. We waited for them to come back up and for like dinner, and he came over. He was so like timid and just not my boy. I mean, he was just so defeated. I mean, it was very sad. He wanted to go home, and we talked with the adults there, and they claim that this is their procedure. This is what they have people do to start to teach them to swim. They just basically lip service. Blah, blah, blah. I said, if you don't want to do this, you don't have to do this. You don't have to swim again. That's when the camp director said, I will personally come down at your swim time and give you personal private lessons, just you and me one-on-one in the kid area. I just keep thinking he must have been terrified. Well, you have to talk to Dad.
I got it. Come here.
So after just a few minutes, because we were just, clearly, they weren't going to listen to us and whatever. So we went in and they were eating, and Nate said to me, and I knew this, because his watch was turned off after that. And although I've been telling him to turn off his watch every time he talks to us so that it will, stay charged and stay so he can call us, I knew that he was upset and there's no way he would have turned his watch off. She took it from him. His den leader took it from him. And we're sitting there at the table, like there's this big long table with probably, probably 40, 50 people. And he says, she took my watch from me. She said I didn't need to call you all the time and that I needed to talk to her. That pissed me off. And I said, you know what, Nate? I said, when I was in college, my whatever the hell she was called, said the same thing to me about my mom, and you can tell her to suck it. That's exactly what I said. I said, not everybody has the same relationship with their kids as we have with you. I said, you don't ever need to hesitate to call me. And I said, anytime someone tells you that, you say, call me right now. I've told him that about school, and I'll tell him that about camp. I don't like when people tell my kids not to call me and bring me in on whatever's going on. She did not like that he had called me today. And you know what? I don't care. So we sat out there, out like by the lake, and he really wanted to go home. And they came over, and at that point, I was pissed. And she said, she would have appreciated if she knew he had a watch. Well, they never asked that. They never asked if he had a phone or a cell phone or anything like that. We never got paperwork that said he couldn't have one. I didn't think that she needed a list of everything that was in his possession at the time. I'm so irate. And then so they just kept poking and wanting to be right. And she said, he's telling us stories of why people shouldn't have cell phones, and she's saying, we used to only have a payphone, that's all we ever had here, and blah, 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 and that's, I'd had enough. I said, you know what? Well, that worked out really well for your organization, didn't it? And the camp director goes, well, what do you mean? I said, well, lots of kids were sexually abused, under your watch. I said, how'd that only having a payphone work out for those kids? Don't tell me my kid cannot call home. And I told him right then, I said, the only way he is staying is if he has his watch on him 24/7. I said, when we first got here, I told him to leave it in his footlocker and he could call us at night when he needed to, because I knew that nights would be the hardest for him, and he'd be okay during the day. I said, but now that you guys have shown me the way your rules are and your regulations and whatever, I said, he is to have on him all the time so that he can call me if there's a problem. I was just so mad. Nate really did not want to stay, and I've already told Paul I'm waiting for him to call me, like, once he gets in his tent up there. I want to see how he is tonight, but I'm not going to continue to fight him. If he wants to come home, I'm going to bring him home. I am so very disturbed at the things that happened there today. I can't even, like, I cannot even. I just cannot even. I just read an article, and I told the guy this, because he's like, we have 1 on 5. That means we have one swim person for every 5 kids or whatever. And I said, you understand that, kids drowned anyway. I just read an article of a mother who, her son was at a public pool, and he was like, I want to say 5 or 6 years old. I can't remember. And there were all kinds of parents around. They had 2 lifeguards, and her kid drowned. They ended up being able to save him. They pulled him out, and they had to perform CPR and stuff, and he was in the hospital like a week later. But nobody caught it, because they thought he was just playing around with all the other kids splashing and everything. Nobody caught it. I'm so pissed off. We're not talking about a kid that, like, didn't want to go on a hike or something like that. I mean, this is water. A lot of people have real fear of water, and I don't know what to do. I'm at the point where I'm ready to say to hell with Scouts altogether, and just because it just feels like there is no organization whatsoever, and I don't know. I'm just waiting to see how he is when he calls, but I'm not going to torture him. I'm not going to traumatize him by making him stay somewhere he absolutely hates, because if he's miserable tonight, forcing him to stay there is not going to help. So I'm just waiting to hear from him. But that's how my night went. I just can't. Like, and so I got into this discussion. Did I already say this with this guy about swim lessons? And he's like, this is how they always start. I said, really? I've never heard of that before in my life. Anytime I've ever watched on YouTube anybody with their kids with swim lessons, the friends that I've talked to about their kids having swim lessons, they've always, like, started by you get in the water, you put your face in the water, you blow bubbles, things like that. That's how they always start. Not jump in the deep end of the pool and pray for you survive. Oh, dear God. I don't know. I wait. I cannot wait for somebody to ask me how his time at camp was, so that I can tell them what I really think. They've told us, like, the numbers up there are dwindling, and the girl that we borrowed the things for the rain gutter regatta, she's been in this pack for a while, and she said, like, they used to have like 25 kids go to camp. Nate was the only one that went this year, and I think maybe it's time that they look at their policies and things that they do, and maybe understand why people don't go. I'm afraid that if Nate comes home from this, he's never going to want to go to summer camp again. I don't think I'll ever send him to this camp again unless something major happens to change my mind. I think that next year we'll just do something completely different. But I just don't know. Scouting is really starting to turn me off to all this, and the way I just can't. The people they have in charge and the decisions that they make, it makes me really, really, really nervous for logic's sake. I don't know. So that's my night. I'm gonna go to bed, and I'm gonna wait for Nate to call and see how he does, see how he is. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye. Hey everybody, happy Tuesday. As far as the Nate situation goes, I talked to him last night. They were somebody else was moving into his bunk, in his little tent cabin thing. It's like a tent, a canvas tent. He hadn't had anybody, and they were having a kid in there. Now, thank God it's a really nice kid because it's the kid that we met when we were up there and he was just a sweet boy. But I feel like they're doing it to kind of watch Nate. My gut is just telling me that. And then this morning when he called, there was somebody there in the background and I couldn't tell if it was a kid or an adult. But like kind of prompting him. Like when he would say something like, what did he say? I said, did you sleep good? And he's like, yeah. And I said, did you use your wool blanket? And somebody said, yeah. And he said, I hope I'm wrong. I don't know. It was really against my better judgment to leave him there. And now on top of it, his battery's at like 20%. And I can't find the portable charger. I don't know where it is. So it's going to be one of my goals today, is to find the portable charger. I could have swore I put it in Paul's toolbox, but he says it's not there. I gotta find it today because I want him to have that. That'll get him through the remainder days, I hope. This has been such a frickin' nightmare. And I just know, I just don't want to get in the habit of, I feel like when you make a big fuss, people are more careful because they know you're not going to take things lying down. So it's not like I necessarily fear for his safety. I just don't think it's the best environment. So he's definitely not going back there next year. Not happening. I don't know. In all honesty, this has kind of soured me to Scouts. Knowing that my money in this area pays for part of this, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how. I'm going to wait for Nate to get home and see what we're going to do from here, but I don't know what this means for our future in Scouts because I just feel like with this mentality, this is exactly how abuse happens. I'm like, they ganged right up on us. For lack of a better, they bullied us and they bullied Nate. And I just feel like after everything, literally, the Boy Scouts are going bankrupt because of all the money that they're paying to past victims of sexual abuse. They're going bankrupt. And I just feel like you think at some point that should change the mentality of how they deal with situations. And, like, last night they were literally arguing with me about kids having cell phones there. And that's when I couldn't take it anymore. I'm like, clearly, you can't do what you've always done and expect a different outcome. Clearly, lack of transparency was the problem. And that's how, whatever number of kids, thousands of kids, I think, were able to be sexually abused for years by the same people and nobody did anything about it. We're led to believe because they have all these rules and everything that this kind of stuff isn't happening, but it's that mentality that they can bully someone to do what they want and take their rights away and then like not want to include the parents on it. Like I don't know. It's against my better judgment that he is still there. I'll tell you that much. I was kind of looking into, I'm going to ask some people. I know there's a girl that I used to go to school with. She went to summer camp every year. I'm going to kind of ask around and research some camps for next year because I love the idea of summer camp for just a week for him to go and experience new things and all that. But I'll be damned if I send him back there. I just don't know. I just can't. When the adults in charge are the ones that make the poor decisions, it scares the hell out of me. I feel like I told his den leader, who's become really good friends, I told her that this is like deja vu with the school because that's how I feel about the school. It's like they want you to be involved when they want you to be involved, but when they don't, they want you the hell out. I don't know. You'll have to wait for Nadie to get home or Daddy to help you. So that's our Tuesday. That's how we're starting off. I'm just going to busy myself. I'm going to work on my budget and things like that. I'm going to try to clean up my office a little bit because I don't know. I don't know where that charger is and he cannot go. He cannot go without something up there. Not after everything that's happened. And not after, I was told initially that they would never deny him the right to call home. I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all after dealing with her yesterday, throwing a fit about him having the watch and calling me. And I just, it's so against my better judgment. And I can't believe it's only Tuesday. I don't know if he's going to make it through or not. Tafiti. So we are just going to, Keegan's watching a movie. I'm going to get some things from the office and hopefully find the charger. And then that's going to be our day. Welcome to Tuesday.